It's been almost a month since I posted a video here on my channel. I have been busy on a few different projects which have taken me to different parts of the state and to new preserves that I haven't visited before. I not only make videos for myself and you on this channel, but I also work with different organizations to make content for them, and May and June are often the busiest times of year for nature content, as everything turns green and is flowering, and all the birds and animals are having their young. I've also had the opportunity to test out new gear, which I will be sharing my thoughts on in a later video, and I'm excited to get back into making videos and sharing my experiences from the past few weeks with you in the coming videos. But for now, here's a sneak peek at some of the highlights of the past few weeks before I get into this video. One of the projects I had been working on was an in-depth look at a local preserve. This preserve was relatively small in size, less than 20 acres, but it contains two beautiful cold water forest brooks that flow through a nice forest that is down in a little valley. I spent a week in this preserve exploring and photographing the wildlife and scenery I could find for the local land trust, and now that the project is completed, I can share some of my time from this preserve with you. One of the things I really like about this location is that I did not need to travel far to get to it. This area is only about half an hour from where I live, and I really advocate for finding and exploring local places around you, because you will likely be surprised at the amazing places that are really close with some great opportunities for photography. The forest in this area is a mixture of hemlocks and hardwoods, with the hemlocks being dominant around the brooks and deeper in the valleys. These trees are shade tolerant and are able to grow in the darker understory of the forest. Because of the two brooks located in this area, there are a variety of species that call this area home, including migrating warblers that move through the area and also nest in the forest, as well as other species such as tanagers, veery, water thrush, and phoebes, to name a few. The brooks allow for pockets of dense vegetation, allowing for greater foraging opportunities for these birds and other animals, due to the higher insect populations around the brooks. I spent most of my time along these brooks for this reason. These areas always provide great opportunities if you sit and be patient for the animals to forget you are there and once again act normally. The flowing water over the rocks also provide great opportunities for capturing long exposures and capturing the beautiful scenery in the area, including the variety of wildflowers that bloom along the damp banks. I am out at this beautiful location where there's a beautiful stream. There's actually two of them. They merge right down here to my left, and there's a lot of nice rocks and boulders that are all in the brook, and it's a perfect spot for Louisiana water thrush. So I'm out here with my goal to find and photograph one. I've been here a couple of times now, and I've heard them going up and down the brook. So I found a couple good spots to set up and sit, and hopefully we'll have some luck. But if we don't have any luck with that, I have some plans of doing some just kind of landscape photography with the stream, the flowing water. I've got my filters so I can do some long shutter speeds, long exposures, and we're gonna see what we can get. So I'm gonna get started right here. There's a beautiful section. There's kind of a little island in the middle, and then it kind of converges and comes around. There's a little rapid section right here, and I'm gonna see what we can get. I'll be the first to admit that I'm not the best with landscapes, but I've started to get into it now that I have the right filters, and I really like with the waters. So flowing water creates a really nice effect. So now that I have this FREEWELL filter set, I can now do longer exposures and they look so much better than trying to do it without a filter. But this location is just so nice. The flowing water, the rocks are all covered with moss, and it is just beautiful. I think I'm gonna move up a little bit. There's a nice spot where it opens up a little bit, and I think that's gonna look really nice. There's actually a dam, an old dam, that still has rock remnants on it, and it's on either side of the brook, and maybe I can incorporate some of that with the water coming down in between it. So, let's see, I haven't heard the water thrush yet, but last time I was here, I had to be here for about a half hour before it came. The problem is there's two brooks in this area that converge, like I said, and both brooks are perfect habitat for this bird. So we'll see. There's a lot of bugs. It's clean water, and that's what they need. So let's see if we can find it. And I'm going to move farther up brook. It's nice because the water's flowing down this way. It's kind of making your eye go up and around. At least it sounds good, doesn't it? I just saw a bird up there flying down along the water. There's two of them. It might be the Phoebe. So I've seen a pair of Phoebes around this area as well. It's not a Phoebe. I think it might be a Veery, some kind of thrush. So, where am I? So I'm gonna head up along the banks a little bit farther. It's perched up on the rocks. It's a brown bird with a whitish cream body and some spots. It looks like it might be a Veery or a hermit thrush, or didn't look like it had enough spots for a wood thrush. So either way, it's a nice find. So I'm gonna try to head up, creep up along this bank, and set up so I can get low to the water. Okay, I creeped over along the bank a little bit. There's a little bit of a path here, and there's a Phoebe that's flying around, and there's also that other bird that I do not see it. It must have flown as I was walking up, because I don't see it where it was, but that doesn't mean it's not in the same area still. So I'm going to hang out here. I've got a good spot. The brook, it actually comes downhill towards me, so even where I am now, I'm still probably about 3 feet off the ground here. But if I'm shooting up that way, I'm actually about eye level with things, and there's some beautiful rocks with moss all over them up that way. There's a lot of boulders, and it's really nice. And then back that way, you can see all these little rocks that are along the brook. It is perfect habitat for Louisiana water thrush. And Louisiana water thrush are such a good indication bird. They require really nice, clean, cold water brooks, and it means that if they're there in the area, it means that it's a very healthy stream. There's a lot of insects, there's a lot of natural processes happening, and it's just overall healthy. So I'm really happy that I've heard them in this area, and now I just want to see if I can set up and get some pictures of them. right, I am set up farther down the brook, and the two Phoebes are definitely still around. They're right in front of me, and they're just perching on these rocks, laying in there for a few seconds, then flying off, capturing insects, and they're just going back and forth. And it is just an awesome opportunity because it's such a small little gray bird, but up against this green moss, it just really looks nice. And with the water flowing in the area and the environment around it too, it just creates a really nice opportunity for some pictures. And I actually found they have a nest up in the rock ledge up that way. I couldn't figure out a way to get a picture of it without disturbing them, and I didn't want to get too close, but they do have a nest, so they're nesting in this area, and this must be a mated pair that's here, and they're just foraging up and along this stream. It is so nice. Still no sign of the water thrush, but these Phoebes are making up for it, that's for sure. And the Veery is still around. It was down that way last I saw it, but I think it's going up into the forest as well on the banks and kind of moving back and forth. So last time it kind of disappeared for a few minutes and then came back down, so I'm hoping that's going to occur again, because it was, last time I saw it, it was only about 15-20 yards in front of me. So if it comes back out, I should have some good opportunity to get pictures of it. But right now I'm just watching and photographing these Phoebes. I mean, just look at this. I mean, how beautiful is this place? It's just, I'm actually in between two main roads. Obviously there's a good amount of acreage in here, but it's not a huge area. And when you're down here along this brook, it just feels like you are completely in the middle of nowhere, and it is just perfect. The Phoebes are back that way now, so I'm going to actually take off my vlogging camera and try to do some long exposures of the brook, and you can just see this view back here. So I want to try to capture it. It's a perfect lighting right now, and while there's no birds right in front of me, I want to try to get some pictures of it. I waited along the brook for the rest of the afternoon, watching the Phoebes fly and catching insects in midair. I took the time to photograph some of the wildflowers that were blooming along the banks, such as these creeping foam flowers,
and would an enemy? I did not see the water thrush, but I did hear it calling farther down the brook, and I also heard it along the small brook on my way out of the preserve. I headed back to the area the next morning, to this time set up along the small brook and try my luck there. The next morning, the lighting was very nice. The sunlight was coming through the trees, and there was a heavy dew that fell overnight, so everything was bright green and dripping. I set myself up in a section of the stream that was relatively straight and flat, and offered good visibility and areas for perching. My plan again was to sit and wait to try to find and photograph the Louisiana water thrush that I heard last night in this area. But there was the potential to see a variety of other species, such as ovenbirds and veery, both of which I would be very happy to photograph. I really enjoy sitting in one location, setting up, and waiting for the wildlife to come to me. Any place along a brook like this can be a really productive spot to wait, and it really allows you to get some close-up views of wildlife, which is exactly what happened with a veery that came along foraging right in front of me. As I sat there along the brook, this veery came and foraged along the rocks and sat along logs that were along the banks. Because I had set my lens up low over the water, I was able to really separate the bird from the background and capture some of the best photos of the species that I have been able to date. It was a fantastic experience that lasted a few minutes before the bird continued farther down the brook and out of sight. I eventually headed back down toward the larger brook again since I did not hear any sign of the water thrush at my location.
I took another little sidetrack here. So I am above the brook. You can probably see it down that way. But when I was here last time, there's a pair of phoebes that are nesting in this area. And all of these large hemlocks and different oaks and birches have all like little sticks that are kind of dead that are sticking out over the brook. And there's this one in particular, this old hemlock that snapped off, and there's a branch that's kind of curving. And that was one of its favorite perches when it was here. And I was photographing it before. And right now, that perch is just like, it's beautifully in the light. The sun's coming through, and I just want to sit here for a few minutes and see if it'll perch here. Because it would be a really nice photo if it does. But the other good thing about being high up is now I'm also in the canopy a little bit, so that I can maybe get some more photos of some different species. There's black-throated green warbler, there's black and white warbler up here somewhere. So I'm just gonna be quiet now, and hopefully a bird will come.
Over the course of the next few days, I continued exploring the preserve, capturing some of the beauty of the forest and searching for the water thrush. It took until the 5th day for me to find the water thrush along the brook. I only had a few minutes with the bird, but I was still able to get a few short video clips and photos of this bird as it was foraging for insects. I hope you enjoyed exploring this little preserve with me. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, as there are going to be a lot of different videos coming in the next few weeks. If you have a chance, be sure to go out and explore the preserves that are close to you. You may be pleasantly surprised by what you might find. Thanks for watching.